So two of my favorite things in life is playing Marvel Rivals and reading about people's lives on the internet. So I thought about why not combine those. And yeah, I'm gonna read Reddit stories while playing Marvel Rivals. Let's go. Okay, story number one. Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law that I don't care about her health condition and that she still needs to shower? My sister-in-law has a health condition that causes her to sweat more than average. She can do nothing at all physically but still be sweating bullets. It can even be cold out and she still breaks a sweat. This is something that I've always known about her since we started talking back in high school, and although we weren't super close back then, it was something I could live with. Now flash forward to modern day, and I'm now with her brother, and she often likes to stop by very often since we live very close together. This I absolutely don't mind, since she's an overall sweet person and likes to bring free food. The only issue is that she smells, like, absolutely foul. I knew she wasn't the most hygienic person sometimes out of forgetfulness, but after she moved out of her parents' house, nobody is there to remind her to shower, put on deodorant, brush her teeth, etc. You can clearly tell that she doesn't do any of that nearly as much as she should. Now, anytime she comes over, her smell irks me. After she leaves, I open all the windows in the apartment and spray the entire place down. I have to fight myself from gagging whenever she goes to hug me, and sometimes I can barely be around for her dinners without her body odor grossing me out too much to even focus on the food. This was the exact case while we were all out on dinner together, where her smell at some point was bad that I had to go to the bathroom to throw up, and at that point I completely had enough of her stench. After dinner, I pulled her aside and tried my best to gently explain to her that she really needs to shower and put on deodorant since she smells awful. Her reaction? To remind me that she can't help it due to her health condition since she just sweat through all her deodorant not even halfway through the day. That's when I flat out told her that I don't care about her health condition, and that if anything because of it, she should be even more hygienic, even going as far as to offering to even buy her deodorant and soap if it means that she just uses it. She ended up breaking down crying about how she can't help her condition and she doesn't understand why I'm being so mean to her. Did I point it nicely? Absolutely not. But it started to drive me insane that every time I'm around her, she smells like a barnyard. So now I need to know if I'm in the wrong for this one. So there's an update on the post, so I'm going to read it right now. I decided to make an edit since there's more context here to it. I've told her about her smelling bad more gently than now, from multiple times of offering her perfumes and asking if she plans on seeking a professional and having to come over to her house to buy her deodorants and soaps since she won't buy them on her own, oftentimes since she views buying scented body washes or deodorants as a waste of time and money. Her parents for years have also ran into the same issue, if which they've offered help, but she'd refused to take it since she didn't want to deal with it and has just accepted it as part of her life. I've gone back and apologized. We had a long talk about things and she agreed to start working on her hygiene in exchange that I do right and don't act like that again. Okay. Um, so here's what I think. I think that although you were very harsh about how you said this, I think that some people need to hear it this way or else they won't understand it. Um, yeah, it's having a health condition is understandable and it sucks that you sweat so much that you're going to smell, but like that should motivate you even more to try harder to stay more hygienic so that you don't get like outcast by society, if that makes sense. I think what this person did was in the right. They could have been a little nicer about it, obviously, but I think since they're living with this person, their sister-in-law, for the rest of their life, probably, and if it's that, this is pretty big of a problem. So definitely think that you're not the asshole in the situation, but definitely could have went about it nicer. Okay, for the second story. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay more of the rent and bills? My girlfriend and I have been together for 5 years. She's had trouble with anxiety, especially around work, which has caused her to move jobs a few times. Her current job is one she's wanted for a while, and she's had it for a year. Things started well, then her anxiety came back, so she's had a lot of sickness. She qualifies from her qualification in a couple of months and will be getting a £350 a month pay raise after tax. She's talking about reducing her hours and going part-time and only working 3 days a week. This would end up with her earning £250 to £300 a month less instead of £350 more. She mentioned if she did this, I'd need to pay a higher percentage of the bills. I mentioned to her that I don't really want to be paying more just because she's choosing to go part-time. She shrugged and I just said if she goes part-time, she'll still have to pay her share of the bills. She said that's not fair since she'll be on less money, but I just pointed out that she shouldn't be making financial decisions that negatively affect me and expecting me to just agree. She again said I wasn't being reasonable, but I just said I expect her to pay her share. Am I the asshole for refusing to consider to pay her rent and bills? Okay, for this story, I think there are two sides. So obviously, there's a side of the boyfriend that I don't think it's fair that the girlfriend expects him to pay all those bills when he's still making the same amount of money, and just because she's making less, she wants him to pay more. That feels a little selfish because that's not really thinking about the boyfriend, that's just thinking about you. On the other hand, anxiety is a huge issue for some people, and honestly, going part time might be one of the solutions that just has to happen. And obviously, the boyfriend could help, but I think that at the end of the day, that's his decision to make, and the girlfriend shouldn't say that he should do it, and he just does it. So I think what I'm gonna say here is you're not the asshole, but at the same time, I do kind of see where the girlfriend is coming from because anxiety is not something to be ignored at all. Okay, for story number three. Am I the asshole for buying the house next door to my former friend? I, 30 male, used to be friends with a woman, 30 female, who I met at university. We were that close, we were hanging out every day and got to know each other. We had a falling out as she stole a piece of my academic work and I faced an investigation from the academics and staff from higher up. While we were friends, she told me that she was from X Town and I told her I was from Y Town, both seaside resorts. I was shocked she was from X Town because my mother went on holiday there every year and I scattered her ashes there when I was 19 after she lost her battle with breast cancer. X Town is a really popular and sought after area in England. Prices can go up to 800K for 3 bedroom homes and doesn't come by that easily. I searched the town on a real estate site to see if any properties had come up for sale, and there was one going for 325K. However, this property was so affordable because it needed modernizing and renovating. This property was also in the perfect location. It's by the seaside. I can go on long runs on the beach every day, which I do for my mental health. It's a 5 minute walk from where I scattered my mom's ashes. It's an 8 minute walk to the train station. I can get to the train to central London. I work here 2 days a week and so forth. It's cheap to live in this area. I did not step inside my property until after New Year's Day because there were a lot of job builders needed to do. After New Year's Day, I got to work doing the renovations I could do. A few weeks ago, an Amazon van pulled up to drop off packages, but next door wasn't in. He asked me if I could drop off a package. I saw the name, and I realized I'm living next door to my former friend as it's a unique spelling, and I said no. My ex-friend has now found out I lived next door to her, and her parents have banged on my door, causing a commotion. All the neighbors came outside. When speaking to relatives, I'm apparently an asshole because I won't move houses. I guess I'm probably an asshole for letting there be tension in the street, but it doesn't bother me that I live next door to her. As far as I'm concerned, I've moved on from this incident with her, and it's in a dream location, and I refuse to move at all because one person is happy. One person is unhappy. Am I the asshole? I think it's pretty clear that the poster is not an asshole. It's a very affordable location. He has a personal connection to where he's living with his mom's ashes on the beach. And I think that just because your next door neighbor is someone that doesn't like you, that doesn't mean that you should be obligated to move. Also, like, next door neighbors, you don't really have to interact if you don't want to. Genuinely, like, I don't talk with my next door neighbor that much. Um, it's not fair that this guy would have to give up literally what sounds like his perfect home in his perfect area just because this person doesn't want to talk with them. It sounds like she's the one being the asshole right now because she's the one invading your property and disturbing you, and honestly, you might have the rights to even like call the police on her, but obviously I don't know the full context of the story, nor do I know the law very well, especially in places like Britain. Um, but yeah, so I think we can all agree that this person is not the asshole in this scenario. Okay, so winning that game has brought us up to around 70 RR, and we just need to win 2 more games, and then hopefully we'll be in Diamond 1 or Diamond 2. Am I the asshole if I exclude my brother's fiance from my wedding? My 33 female brother, 30 male, has been with his now fiance, 24 female, for 3 years. She's the first person he's ever dated. At first, I thought she was fine. Very quickly, though, I noticed that at least half the time when she was around their family, she would be having a temper tantrum about something and would literally give our entire family the silent treatment and sulk in a corner. To give an example of the kind of temper tantrums, one time she apparently forgot her swimsuit on a lake trip, which I didn't realize, so I made the mistake of asking her if she was gonna go tubing. She angrily gestured at her outfit and ran into the basement, and I heard from my other sibling that she sobbed for hours. She gave my entire family the silent treatment at a very, very close family friend's funeral because she told me later it was her birthday week and she didn't want to spend it at a funeral. Once I asked her if she wanted to get her nails done with me sometime and she literally pretended she didn't hear me. So I repeated myself more loudly and she still didn't acknowledge my invitation, so I knew that she just wasn't interested. Around the 8 month mark of them dating, I expressed concerns to him about her behavior around their family. They were planning to move in together about 35 minutes away. I know, not far at all. The rest of our family all lives within a 7 minute drive of one another, so I don't think it's relevant for context. And I was worried that we wouldn't see him anymore and that eventually, when they got married, she wouldn't even involve her family in their wedding. Seriously, those were the only two concerns I expressed. He said he understood, but he loves her and he would be intentional about keeping a close relationship. Our family is very close, not in an over the top or overbearing way at all, but especially since the death of our older brother, our family relationships are very sacred. So they move in together and we never see him. It's been 2.5 years. This year they spent Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the 10-year anniversary of my brother's car accident with her family. In the meantime, I met a man who loves my family. He cares for my grandmother who has Alzheimer's. She even remembers his name, which is a huge deal because she doesn't remember ever having met my brother's fiance, who she's met a dozen times. He watches sports with my dad. He usually spends time with his family who lives in the same area that my brother and his fiance live in about once a week. We celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve with my family, and Christmas with his family. I realize that my fiance is an extraordinary example rather than the standard, but I say all of this because our jobs and social lives are so busy, but we always make time for family. My brother announced in our family group chat that he was going to propose one weekend over the summer. They were going to go for a walk at one of their favorite trails and he would pop the question. This is irrelevant because this was a flexible plan that could have been easily changed. My fiance had planned a trip out to my favorite island that weekend, and I was certain that he'd also be proposing. I knew that my brother's fiance would not want to get engaged on the same weekend. I texted him, called him, had my fiance call him, my mom reached out. He assured us that he discussed the possibility that we would be getting engaged at the same time with her and that she was totally okay with it. I thought, okay, well, it wouldn't be my first choice because I don't want to step on her toes, and she doesn't seem like someone who would like that. But we already had the trip planned, and to be honest, I love my brother and thought it would be kind of dope to get engaged on the same weekend if we had her blessing, and it's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. She didn't think it was dope, and I looked like the bad guy because my fiance proposed a little over 24 hours after my brother did. I spent a lot of time thinking about my bridal party. As the only girl in a family of boys and as a family who have lost a sibling, it's been a non-negotiable to me to include my brothers. In addition to my four best friends, I decided to ask my brother's partners to be my bridesmaids so that my brothers would be included in our wedding party. I explained all of this to her and that the only expectation I have of my bridesmaids is to show up in a dress and take cute pictures with me. As soon as I asked her, I felt instant regret. There was no feigned excitement, no hug. My fiance even awkwardly laughed and said, "I think you're supposed to say yes." She didn't participate in the group chat. She didn't even choose a dress. She asked me to get coffee yesterday and told me that she's too busy with bigger things to participate in my wedding. I explained that I didn't invite her because of any delusion that we were best friends, but as an invitation to have a relationship and a way to include my brother. I reminded her that I'm not having a bridal shower or a bachelorette party and that the only thing I'm asking of my bridesmaids is to wear a dress that is one of three colors and take some cute pictures. I told her that I had sensed that she didn't want to participate and that I certainly didn't want anyone to participate who doesn't want to. She talked extensively about how bad her relationship is with my brother, and it feels like unlikely after hearing the way that she spoke about it that they will make it to their wedding day. Now that she has declined my invitation to begin a relationship, can I uninvite her for my wedding? I don't want to see her on my wedding day, and I certainly don't want to look back at my photos and see this woman who has blatantly rejected mine and my whole family's bids for connections. I just don't want to pretend anymore. I'm feeling like, okay then, if you have chosen not to participate in family relationships, you don't get to participate. I'm afraid that if I uninvite her from the wedding, or even tell her that she can't be in our family pictures, my family will accuse me of damaging the family and being hateful. Am I the asshole? Okay, in my opinion, it sounds like to me that this brother obviously doesn't know what a healthy relationship is since it is his first relationship ever, but obviously I cannot say that without knowing the context of this entire thing, so take that with a little grain of salt. This is your wedding, this is your big day, this is like once in a lifetime experience, and it should be entirely your day. You shouldn't let someone else, especially your sister in law, control your wedding just because she doesn't like you that much. I think that since it is your wedding and it's your big day, it's completely okay for you to uninvite her if you don't want her to come. And if she gets mad at that, that's just not okay. Obviously, this is just one side of the story, but from what I can tell and the way this was written, it's pretty clear that this person is just overall a self-centered person and that she thinks that the world revolves around her, and that's not okay. Like, for example, when you got engaged on the same day as she got engaged, that's nothing to be upset about. Obviously, you're not the asshole in this scenario, but if you want my advice on what you should do, I think it's clear that since you take so much pride in your family connections, I do think that uninviting her from the wedding will sever that completely, although it is your choice. It's pretty obvious that if you uninvite her, she's not going to invite you to her wedding at all, and I don't think you want that to happen. So, one thing you could do is just invite her to the wedding and just straight up not notice that she's there. It's your big day. Don't let one person ruin that. And yeah, there we go. Okay, probably the last story of the day. Hey guys, I, 33 male, am a manager of a cafe, and about 2 years ago we hired a high school student named Grace, 16 female at the time. Now, Grace relied on her mother to take her to and from work. However, over the last 18 months or so, her mother has become very flaky with picking her up from work, often texting her an hour before she's meant to finish with some lame excuse as to why she can't pick her up from work, and that she'll have to get someone from work to drop her home. The excuses are never reasonable, like I have to work late, as her mother is actually unemployed and takes advantage of government unemployment benefits, so her excuses are actually like, I'm going to the movies so I can't pick you up. Okay, instantly off the bat, this mother seems like she doesn't care about her kid that much. Now, whenever she asked for a lift home, either one of my other colleagues or myself would begrudgingly take her home as she was technically a child at the time and we morally couldn't leave her stranded. I always told myself, however, that once she turned 18, that I would stop taking her home as she is now old enough to fend for herself. Grace is now 18 as of last month, and the day finally came that she asked me for a lift home. Her mom's excuse this time was, I'm going out for dinner with friends tonight, so I can't pick you up as I have to get ready for that. I stood my ground and said, no, I can't take you home. Now keep in mind that she has multiple options for getting home. She can catch a bus, she can take a ride share like Uber, or worst case, she can walk. Her house is only a 15 to 20-minute walk from work. Wait, what? It's not that bad. And it's not like we're finishing at 2 a.m. We literally finish at 3:30 p.m. and our walk home would be in broad daylight in an upper middle class area with no real danger. Even worse, she is old enough to get her driving license and even own a car, but when asked why she doesn't go for her license, she says, I don't need it. Grace seemed upset when I told her that I wouldn't drop her home, but I think it was a good life lesson for herself and a parenting lesson for her mom. When I got home from work, I felt a little bad about the situation and asked my roommate if I had done the right thing, and he said I was an asshole and should have taken her home instead of being stubborn, and it's not my place to be giving life or parenting lessons
Three,
out.
two, one.
So TLDR, am I the asshole for forcing an 18-year-old to step out of their comfort zone and get themselves home, or should I just continue being Grace's free lift home every shift? So, when I first started reading the story, I thought, like, I assumed that this would be like a 30-minute ride home, like a drive home. And that's reasonable that she needs a ride home. But the second that you read that 15 to 20-minute walk home in the afternoon with the sun still high in the sky, that instantly just certified that you are not obligated to give her a ride at all. Walking home is completely safe, especially since you said that it was a middle class area. I think it's safe to assume that you're not the asshole. On top of this, the mother is also a horrible person because she just kind of like ignores her child. But at the same time, it is a 20-minute walk home, so I think Grace can fend for herself. 15 minutes is nothing, and even with the car, it would be 5 minutes, or by bus, it would be maybe 10. So I think it's safe to assume that you're not the asshole and that she could have totally walked home. Yeah, so we did actually end up hitting Diamond 2. Tell me if you guys like these videos so I can keep making them. Yeah, and if you want, there's a little red button down there. Subscribe. All right, see you later.